Now Ayrshire Radio Podcast presents Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
So welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and as promised we have a brilliant guest on today's show to kickstart our local legend spotlight. This man is known in many circles, whether it be for his skip hire and waste management, his tankers, his hotel, or of course his football club. I'm delighted to welcome Billy Bowie from Billy Bowie Special Projects, the Park Hotel and Kilmarnock Football Club. Billy, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Billy, before we find out how it all started, it is a Sunday morning, so most people will have the frying pan and the kettle on. The big question is, are you a tomato sauce or a brown sauce man?
Brown sauce.
Do you prefer a tea or a coffee?
Coffee.
And lastly, what's your go-to Sunday morning roll?
Sausage.
So, a rolling sausage, there we go.
And potato scones on it.
You can't beat potato scone in there.
No.
Now, you can tell a lot about a person with their Sunday morning roll routine. I have to say, I'm very similar to you. But we're going to find a lot about Billy Bowie very soon. Coming up, we're going to hear how a dream became a reality for Billy.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Now Ayrshire Radio.
I'm chatting with Billy Bowie, the founder of Billy Bowie Special Projects, and we're hearing how it all began. So, Billy, where did you grow up?
Stewarton.
And as a local lad, what school did you go to?
Nether Robbleton Primary and then Stewarton Academy.
Off to Stewarton Academy. And after all that, what was your first job?
My first job, I actually had jobs when I was even at school. I used to go and help my uncle who was a farmer, and then after that my dad worked with an industrial cleaning company, and when I was 16 I worked away with them, and after that I decided I wanted to earn some money, so I left school and I worked with this industrial cleaning company.
Now, working through all that and kind of various jobs, and clearly a work ethic that had started from a young age, what was business always the plan, and what sparked the idea? When did you move into starting your own business?
I left that till I was about 21. The job that I left school to go and work doing industrial cleaning, I was too young to go and work in the factories, so I actually got a job changing truck tyres. So I'd done that and I really enjoyed that. I've always liked being about trucks. And then through time, done the tyre changing job, and then I moved going out and working with the squads when I was 18-year-old, and because I had a driving licence, I ended up driving the van, taking the guys to jobs, and I moved myself up to a supervisor when I was 19, 21. I was a bit lorry daft, so I went and got my HGV, but I never really wanted to drive the trucks all the time, so I just kind of meddled in and out of driving trucks and still doing my supervising job. And then a job came up in the office when I was 22-year-old, like a traffic coordinator, traffic manager, and I get involved with that. I really enjoyed it. And then they announced that Ravenscraig Steelworks was going to close, and that was our biggest customer. And I'd said at the time, well, there's other work out there, but they were just focused in big factories. So that's when I took the decision, that the contacts I had, that I would go and buy one truck and kick off with that.
Brilliant. And all that, and the kind of saving up and then getting the first truck, it must have been some achievement at that point, just getting your first truck. Did you just go out there and go for it?
No, I had contacts, and I went about auctions, and there was an old water authority truck came up for auction, and it was quite a bad condition, but I got it and I could see the potential in it, so I got the truck and took 5 or 6 months to fix it up, get it on the road and get it going. Then when I actually got all my licences through my operator's licence, then I started working away with the truck, but it was quite an unsurreal kind of feeling that I had, because I didn't feel right, out driving my own truck and going and doing jobs and whatever. So yeah, it was a bit of a, I don't know how you would explain it, but it was an unsurreal experience.
And a massive achievement to now what is growing is such a successful business here in Ayrshire. Well, Billy, up next we're going to talk about the big wins and the biggest lessons just after this.
Now streaming
Ayrshire Insights, hosted by Elliot Boyce.
This is Now Ayrshire Radio.
We're still here with Billy Bowie from Billy Bowie Special Projects. Now, we've heard about how it all begun, but now let's talk about the business journey. So, Billy, what was your first big win?
Quite a lot of big wins, to be honest. We did win a few contracts, but the thing was, the business sold for itself, the bright yellow tankers. The phone just kept ringing and we just kept moving on, and the big win would be new truck, well, second-hand new trucks, all nicely painted up, going on the road and then employing drivers.
Brilliant. So going back to the kind of early days, so you had your first truck. How did it go from the first truck to the second and then on to the fleet that you've got just now?
Yeah, just year on year it doubled. Remember I had the first truck, and then I got a job with the local council. So I went and purchased another truck, put that to work, and then one driver. Then back then, word of mouth was good with drivers, because I think I've always been quite a good boss. I keep my feet in the ground, and I never make myself invisible from my employees. So what just came along, a driver would come along and I'd source another truck. So you'd buy the other truck and employ the other driver and just keep moving on from that. And one of the drivers I had was quite a sensible lad, so he ended up coming in the office to work with me. Then we employed secretaries and we just built up. But in 1994, I bought a dairy farm and I moved the business to there, just out the back of Stewarton. So at that time I had 6 trucks and I bought the dairy farm. And by 1999 I had 40 trucks and I was upsetting the neighbours, so I had to go and buy an industrial estate at Kilmarnock. So we then moved to Moorfield Industrial Estate.
That's an unbelievable journey from the moment beginning to 44 trucks. So throughout your time in business, I'm pretty sure it's not all rosy. And I think a lot of people listening who might be involved in business and starting could be looking at the kind of really difficult times to start with and the challenges in order to get to success. What's your hardest day that you've experienced in business?
In quite a lot of long days. I remember one night we were really, really busy and we're going out the door, locking the offices at 8 o'clock at night, and a job came in. It was a diesel spillage, so we had to go because it was going to cause a bit of pollution. So next thing, back in the office, get the truck keys and away and done that job. And, you just have weeks that roll on into the other. But, our job, you start off, you've got a big mess, and our job's to tidy it up. So it's hard getting to the end to getting the job finished at times.
And from the conversation, I feel that a lot of it's the kind of operations and actually the completing of the job being the challenge. In terms of the business side of it in the background, do you feel that from when you started, in terms of the kind of management of cash, in terms of being able to start it and growing it, you seem to have always grown in a kind of sensible trajectory throughout it all? Is that something that you've kept, keeping your feet in the ground and kind of went in that journey? Have you always kept your feet in the ground and sensible there?
Absolutely. I was quite fortunate when I was younger and I went about with my father a lot. I was always in the company of older gentlemen. He used to, you're starting a business up, son, just watch, you're better the wee fire heating you and the big fire burning you, and pennies look after the pounds, things like that. And that still sticks with me to this day. And I actually had a target in my head as well when there'd be a life of debt and when I had to get out the life of debt. So I've built the business up now to more or less when I turned 50, I had the goal, right, anything to do with Billy Bowie now. We've got the cash, we buy it. If we've not got the cash, we don't buy it.
Very, very sensible, and something that I think a lot of people, when they are growing business, will be sitting in the early days where it might be living month to month and trying to grow the business, having to do part-time jobs and just in order to keep up with life as well. And it's a challenging place, but I think you're right, the pennies look after the pounds, and it's a right good motto and a good level that you've stuck with right throughout business. Now, with every business, there's some difficult decisions that's got to be made throughout. Do you think there's been a kind of specific difficult decision that you've had to make throughout your time?
Yeah, there has been times when work's not really been where it's been, and you've maybe had to lay off some personnel because the work's not there and whatever, and it's not nice doing that, when you're making somebody redundant or paying them off through no fault.
And unfortunately, those difficult decisions do have to be made in order to sustain the business and eventually be able to grow and fundamentally employ more people in the long run.
That's right. Our business as well, it's a bit like washing your hands. You turn the tap on, you know how much hot water you need, cold water, and that's the way our business can be at times. It can be full on and other times it can be a bit quiet, but we're quite lucky now. We've got a good flexible workforce and they'll work their holidays round about your busy times and their quiet times. So the business actually runs, like clockwork now.
And I think that's where it comes back to the business is a team effort, and everyone's got to be playing for the same team, and that goes down to all levels of staff in order to being able to be flexible, work around the needs of the business in order to keep everyone's job secure.
That's right. No, I'm a great believer in teamwork. Everybody's valued, no matter what they do, and I myself, I'll roll up the sleeves. I'll do any job that needs done.
I think I can comfortably say that. I'm sure I was standing one day in the tunnel at Rugby Park and there was a little sewage leak and you come down from the boardroom, get your sleeves rolled up and brought in the tanker and dealt with it in the middle of a match.
That's right, yeah. The early days at Rugby Park, yeah.
Now, obviously some difficult days, there's hard days, but there must be some right proud days. So what would you say your proudest moment through business so far has been?
I think for me, it's seeing the trucks out in the road, and especially the way the fleet is now, we don't have anything older than 5-year-old, so it's getting like a group of lorries and putting them out to a job and seeing them getting out the gate in the mornings and and coming back in at night. It's just great just see them all lined up. Then half an hour later they all filter away out and all over the country.
How big's your fleet now? How many tankers have you got on the road now?
We're more or less, we're 120 MOTs a year. So we've got units and trailers that maybe count as one truck. So it's quite a varied fleet. But yeah, I mean, we're covering in the excess of 80 jobs every day. And
starting off with the one truck and building up to that is an unbelievable achievement. Moving on from that, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've faced in running a business?
I don't know. I seem to just take things in my stride. And a lot of people say to me just now, I don't know how you do what you do, but as I say, I get up in the morning, I'm not going to swear, but when I get up in the morning, I do things to my best of my ability. I don't get up in the morning to kind of guddle about anything I get tasked with, and I've always been that way. So, if there is something that doesn't go right, at least I say to myself, well, I gave it my best shot. So, and it's amazing what you get out of, giving things your best shot. So there's quite a lot of proud things. I mean, I must say my proudest moment at the moment is my oldest son, William. He's at university doing business, and I gave him a wee summer job in the office, and I'm like, Dad, we're short of drivers. And he went away 18 and passed his HGV, and now he's out driving big trucks. So my worries have changed a bit, Now a 20-year-old boy out driving a 44-tonne truck.
And that's what it's all about, and keeping the legacy going with the Bowies and your son getting involved and going to uni as well. I take it one thing that you always strike me as is nothing gets handed in a plate. You've got to work for it in the background in order to be part of the business.
No, that's it. No, we'll muck in and work away, and it's quite surprising. Both my sons, they'll go and do things, work away. And he decided he liked cutting hair, so he's now cutting hair and whatever. And I think any family where they've witnessed their mum and dad going out to work, that's life as they know it. And that's really what I've done with my two boys. And, I've let them go on with it. I've never forced them into doing anything.
A good work ethic is really is what grows people, and I think you can see that in a number of people through. But certainly with your boy in uni being part of the business must be a massively proud moment, and also your other son doing his own business, just a completely different field from you as well.
That's right. Yes, he is cutting hair. Yeah.
And Billy, we're going to get you involved in a brand new challenge next. Plus, we're going to find out what drives Billy Bowie to give back locally just after this.
This is Elliot Boyce.
And this is Ayrshire Insights.
We're still with this week's local legend, Billy Bowie. Now, Billy, it's time to talk community, charity and Ayrshire pride. But before we find out about your links to the community, we're looking for listeners to get in touch with the show and let me know their weekly bargain. So where they've now been out and about this week and what they've managed to pick up for a tenner. Now, the question to you is, what's the bargain of the week that you've managed to get for a tenner?
Well, TK Maxx. I always buy my clothes in there, and I get a Calvin Klein t-shirt for a tenner.
There we go, a tenner at that. There is of course other clothing brands and shops you can go to, but that's your bargain of the week. There you go, you get your £10 top from TK Maxx. Brilliant, Billy. So Billy, back to you. Why support local causes like Now Ayrshire Radio?
I'm a local guy, and I have my business in Ayrshire. I like Ayrshire, and I think through the years it's had a few blows, like losing Johnny Walker's whisky and the carpet industry, and it's actually turned around that I'm one of the main employers now in Kilmarnock. But I love supporting local things like Ayrshire Radio. I've supported lots of causes about Kilmarnock, a lot of football clubs. I like supporting them, junior, whatever. I just love to be putting something back into the community.
Fantastic, and to be honest, I think Ayrshire really appreciates what you've done for them as well. And that leads on, what does that local feeling mean to you?
For me, it means a lot. even my depot in Kilmarnock, when I got involved with things, I've got a depot in Widnes and one in Leeds. And anybody looking at a business from the outside would say, your head office should be in Leeds and that. But I'm passionate about Ayrshire. I want to see people in employment in Ayrshire. As I mentioned before, I just think Ayrshire's had some raw deals through the years. And I like employing people. Ayrshire people, believe it or not, in my book, have a great work ethic. And they're good people as well.
And the benefit of you giving back to Ayrshire and then getting the benefit of the Ayrshire people in your business.
Yeah, that's right. And I've kind of made it now that the profits that the tankers make, I like putting that back into local causes.
And that, do you know what, leads on very nicely to this next question. How has your business made an impact locally?
Well, indeed. Kilmarnock Football Club. That was back 12 years ago. It kind of lost its way with the community, and Kilmarnock hadn't much going for it. And I actually felt if Kilmarnock loses a football club, Kilmarnock's finished. So I got involved with the football club. Well, I went along to see if I could help, albeit that I'd sponsored them since 1997. And I more or less went in a meeting one day and came back out,
And there you are.
Yeah,
I've got a football club.
Yeah.
No, Billy, that leads us really nicely into your Kilmarnock Football Club story. But to be honest, we're running out of time this week. But I do think that there's so much to talk about. Would you mind joining us again next week and we can go beyond the football and find out the highs and lows of running a top flight football club?
Yeah, that'd be really nice.
Really appreciate that, Billy, and we'll get you on next week. But before we finish up, we're going to play a fun round. We're going to tell you all about it just after this.
Now streaming.
Ayrshire Insights, hosted by Elliot Boyce.
This is Now Ayrshire Radio. The local feeling. Now Ayrshire.
I'm with Billy Bowie, and it's now time for 5 fast ones on Now Ayrshire Radio. So, Billy, I don't want you to think about it. Just shout out the first answer that comes into your head. So, are you ready to play 5 fast ones?
Yes, give it a go.
Right, let's go. Your favourite takeaway?
KFC.
A song that always lifts your mood?
Rocket Man, Elton John.
Best thing about Ayrshire?
Ayrshire, Kilmarnock Football Club.
Weirdest moment at work?
Being the yard man.
And who plays you in a movie of your life?
Well, Peaky Blinders, Tom Shelby.
Tommy Shelby, Peaky Blinders. I didn't think of that one, are you, Billy? You think I said a bit of a Peaky Blinder?
No, not really. I just like, he's cool at times. I just aspire to maybe be a cooler guy at times.
Billy Bowie, the Peaky Blinder, massive thanks for playing 5 fast ones. We're going to be asking our guests every week to get involved with that one. Now, Billy, a massive thank you for not only sponsoring the show, but for kickstarting Ayrshire Insights here on Now Ayrshire Radio. I'm very excited to continue this next week to find out beyond the football and what the business is like in running Kilmarnock Football Club. Billy, a massive thank you for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now Ayrshire Radio Podcast presents Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Now Ayrshire.